everyone, this is Dr Nisha Nujumudeen. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about Gross National Happiness Index and World Happiness Report. This is concept number 13. All those who have missed concept 1 to 12, make sure that you visit the playlist of this particular video series so that you can get a quick revision of all the basic concepts. Having said that, let's have a look into what is Gross National Happiness Index. So we talk about development. So now the economic growth indicator is what? GDP, Gross Domestic Product. The social indicator for development is HDI, Human Development Index. And we also saw multiple other indexes in the previous classes, right? Having said that, it was also important to consider one non-economic aspect to measure development, and that is none other than happiness. Gross National Happiness Index is one such index which also wants to incorporate or take into consideration the happiness of the people of a country in order to understand how really and how stable or sustainable are we in our development process. So now let me ask you a question. How happy you are? Are you really happy? I know in the comment boxes, multiple answers will come. No, ma'am, I'm sad. Some will say extremely happy. Some will say depressed, whatever. But just ask this question to yourself, how happy you are. There is a reason for it. Having said that, Gross National Happiness Index. So now the term called as Gross National Happiness, it was actually introduced by the 4th king of Bhutan called as Jigme Wangchuck. So he felt that when you talk about development, it is not only based on economic, social and environmental factors. It also needs to have certain other perspectives or variables added to it. That is why the term called as Gross National Happiness was brought in. Now, that was in the 1970s. So, since then, this term called as Gross National Happiness was there. Now, Gross National Happiness Index, it is an index that focuses on measuring not only economic aspects of development, but also it takes into consideration certain non-economic aspects of development. For example, how happy we are with regard to preservation and conservation of our cultural values, including certain elements of spirituality, including certain non-materialistic perspective into measuring development. That is what the basic idea between Gross National Happiness Index lies. Now, this particular index called as GNHI, it is based on 4 pillars. One of the important pillar of this particular index is preservation and promotion of the cultural values. For example, as far as a country India is concerned, India is what? Incredible, means unbelievable. In terms of caste, creed, color, sex, we have a rich and diverse cultural heritage. So now, preserving and conserving them adds to a lot of value. It indeed gives a lot of happiness is what is said. Having said that, Gross National Happiness Index, one of the important pillars is what? Preserving and promoting cultural values. The second pillar is sustainable development, which means long-term development, using the resources for the present generation and preserving the resources for what? The use by the future generation, so that people will not lack or they will not run out of resources. Now we are using all the resources. Our future generation, our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they should not run out of what? Resources. For example, today, what is happening in India? We are on and on importing petroleum products, right? Why? Once upon a time, India was rich in those resources. It is a non-renewable source of energy. But because of over-exploitation and under-exploitation, today we do not have such kind of petrol or petroleum products like oil, crude oil, etc. So we depend on importing them. So now the whole point of sustainable development is let us use the resources. At the same time, preserve them for the future generation also, so that there is a equitable development. There is a socio-economic equitable development. That is the second pillar. The third pillar of gross national happiness index is good governance. It is not about the governance of a country by the government, rather how effective or how good it is. That shows the happiness of the people as a whole. For example, taking this concept of good governance into consideration, in 2023, in the economic survey, it was said that trust is considered to be public good. So basically, public goods are those goods that are provided by the government to the general public. So now, trust was considered as a public good in the economic survey. That is, trust and faith in the government by the citizen or the people of the country. So as to ensure what? A good governance, so that the people of the country are also happy. That is also what one of the indicator or pillars of gross national happiness index. And the fourth pillar is conservation and preservation of our environment. From what? From harmful effects such as environmental degradation, loss of biodiversity, pollution, resource depletion, etc. It is high time that we conserve and preserve our ecology and environment. So these are the four pillars of what? Four pillars of gross national happiness index. In simple terms, not only the economic aspect, let us also focus on what? The non-economic aspects in order to understand what real development looks like. So now, you can't say that gross national happiness index can replace GDP. That is not possible because the data pertaining to all these indicators are not that easily available. And it does not make that much of a sense in order to understand the growth performance of countries. This is completely a different index altogether compared to GDP. Out of the global nations across the globe, it is said that the rank of India in gross national happiness index was not that great. The rank was 144. Since 2020-21, this is a rank that has been there in our country, India. We rank 144 out of the world countries with regard to what? Gross national happiness index. This itself shows that how unhappy our country is. There are so many factors to it. One is lack of access to basic facilities, economic and social indicator facilities. That is one thing. Second is there is something called as hidden slavery. So now you'll be surprised to hear this. What is hidden slavery? Okay, this is actually very high in our country, India. That is also one reason why people are unhappy, leading in making our country, India, more unhappy. For example, a woman is educated. She is getting good education. She is also allowed to go and work in any organization she wants. She is earning income. She is financially independent also. But then, due to the so-called patriarchal society norms or perspectives that we have, though she is allowed to study or allowed to go for work also, her routine life is like a machine. Whatever income she earns, she has to give it to her so-called parents or husbands or whoever it is concerned. And now, more than that, 9 to 5 would be the time of her job. Now, when she comes back home, again, she has to carry forward a household chores or household work. And this is considered to be so normal by so many people. They say that that is a duty of a female to take care of the home. Why it is not a duty of a male to take care of a home? What does it matter if both the genders equally share? This concept is not popularized or this concept is not appreciated by many people across the country as a whole, I would say. Having said that, lot of women, they are subjected to extreme pressures. Many a times, in spite of getting educated, in spite of having work also, they are subjected to domestic violence. Today, domestic violence not only focuses on, let's say, it talks about physical abuse. It consists of physical abuse, verbal abuse and mental abuse. So now, if you see October, in every year, October is considered to be what? The mental awareness month. Now, mental health has a huge impact on the physical well-being of a person. When you're mentally tired, mentally sick, your emotional health gets disturbed. Automatically, you start developing disease in your bodies in one or the other way. So, automatically, the physical health or well-being also get disturbed. So, multiple forms of violence are being faced with women of today's generation, especially the working class women. Don't think that the ones who are in the rural areas, the ones who are not educated are subjected to all that. The so-called high society ladies, the so-called, urban women are also subjected to all this. Okay, so now all these comes under what? Hidden slavery. This is also one of the reasons why India's happiness index is not that great, because that is leading to more unhappiness, and that is also actually preventing the women empowerment in some or the other way. Is it clear? So now, having said that, there is another related topic called as World Happiness Report. So before going to that, who releases this Gross National Happiness Index? Because we were studying multi-dimensional poverty index, gender inequality index, and human development index, we may think that it is who? It is United Nations Development Program or UNDP. But no, actually Gross National Happiness Index is released by World Health Organization. It is WHO. So please make a note of it. Now, having said that, the next topic of discussion is World Happiness Report. It is also an associated topic of discussion based on the GNHI index. World Happiness Report, since 2012, it is actually published annually. Annually means what? Every year. Right? Annually, it is published since 2012 by an organization called as UNSDSN. In simple terms, UN is United Nations, SD is Sustainable Development, and SN is Solution Network. It is United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. They are the ones who release what? World Happiness Report. Now, having said that, this particular World Happiness Report, it is based on polling. You have to poll certain indicators, okay? It is calculated or measured based on polling. Option A, option B, you poll, right? Similarly, certain indicators will be given and the polling has to be done. That is how the data is collected. So, World Happiness Report is based on polling, and that is again based on 6 key indicators. By taking into consideration 6 key indicators, one of the indicators is corruption. More the corruption, more the unhappiness, or more what? The unhappiness of a country. So less the corruption, less will be what? The unhappiness, and it will lead to better happiness, right? So corruption is one such indicator. Second is the freedom to make life choices. Everybody should have the choice to decide their life. For example, you want to be an IAS, IPS, IRS officer, but your parents or your partner is telling you, no, I want you to continue being a software engineer only, or I want you to continue working as a data analyst. You need not go and become a civil servant because of the pressure of job that you have. So now, don't you think so? Your choice of making a life decision becomes difficult, and that makes you unhappy. Even that is also an indicator coming under what? World Happiness Report. The third indicator of World Happiness Report is GDP per capita. What is per capita? Average income of the individuals of a country divided by the total population. That is national income divided by population. We discussed in the previous classes, right? Having said that, if people are having a better income, higher the income means what? Higher the purchasing power parity, automatically everybody is happy. They are having resources or having money to buy all what they want. But lower the income, high levels of poverty, and situation becomes pathetic. So that is what GDP per capita income signifies here. The next indicator is healthy life expectancy. It is not about how long a person is expected to live after he or she is born, rather how healthy they are. When you reach the age of 50, 60, 70, it is not about your living. If you're lying in the bed in coma, that doesn't mean that you are happy. You should be active enough. You should be able to walk, do your things normally and not bedridden. So now the healthy life expectancy also determines what is one of the indicator that determines the World Happiness Report. The next one is social support received from the society for both genders, male and female. A little focus on the female gender. And finally, generosity. These are actually the 6 key indicators that takes into consideration while measuring World Happiness Report globally. Having said that, let's have a quick look into what is the rank of our country, India. In 2023, out of 136 countries, what was the rank of India? India was 126. What does it show? Oh my God, just 10 points different. India is one of the least happiest country, or India is one of the most unhappiest country among other nations, right? This has to grow. This has to increase. And now in the year 2024, what happened? Out of 143 countries, again, the number of countries increased from 136 to 143. But what is the point? The rank of India still remains the same. It is 126. A lot more has to be done by a country, India, to make the people happy. That consists of making sure that people are out of the social evils like unemployment, poverty, child labor, etc. And also other factors like hidden slavery, what I told you. So thus, let's have a quick look into global scenario. Which country is the most happiest country? As always, the Nordic or the Scandinavian countries. If you see Finland, the best for education, that particular country, Finland, ranks number 1, or I would say that they are the most happiest country according to World Happiness Report recent data of 2023-24. And now, as for 2023-24 data, the least happiest or the worst happiest country is Afghanistan. That we also know, right? The issues that is happening in and around that particular country. So this is what you should know with regard to what World Happiness Report. I hope the concept of Gross National Happiness Index and World Happiness Report is crystal clear for all of you. Feel free to put down your comments in the comment box. So stay tuned for more such topics in this series of lectures. So get ready to master Indian economy in a more simplified manner with me. Thank you and Jai Hind.